Well, welcome back, Blade fans. OG Blades with you today. And something brandy new from the design mind of Dirk Pinkerton. And I'm going to unveil this, unbox this in a moment. I was very surprised the other day to get a couple of new Artisan offerings designed by Dirk Pinkerton. Thank Artisan very much for the review samples, as well as Dirk Pinkerton for pointing Artisan my way. And we're going to take a look at this in just a moment, but the name is Kami. K-A-M-I. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with communist, you conspiracy theorists out there, or anything else, other than the fact that it was a object of worship in the Shinto, Japanese indigenous religion. It translated as God, Lord, or deity, but also includes other forces of nature, both good and evil, which, because of their superiority and divinity, become objects of reverence and respect. So, without further chatter, let's open this magnetic flap box. Artisan's doing something a little different these days. I think they did a change up on some of their older packaging. Very nice, solid box. Good place to keep it if you're hanging on to boxes, as I do, unfortunately, because I think I have too many of those. Comes in a zippered Artisan pouch with a Artisan microfiber cloth. And here it is, the Kami in all of its glory. And the first thing you might notice is, yes, we've got micarta on one side and titanium on the other. I know a lot of blade collectors out there are not super fond of that, and I don't want to cast anything negatory on it from the very beginning. But, you know, it's fine with me, and it helps reduce the price about $100 from an all-titanium knife. This one, here we go, is a fantastic reverse curve, or recurve, whatever you'd like to call that, with a nice large forward belly. And as with many of Dirk's tactical / combat oriented sort of tactical defensive knives, there is the point right on a line with the center of the handle. See how best I can show you that. See that? Look at that. And that ain't by accident. So that when you hold this knife, and it's a good size knife too, it's about 3.8 inches. Hold this knife, then you've got that point right straight forward in a line for your thrusts. We've got a blade on this one of S35VN, a good solid steel, which used to be the premium steel in production knives. So I think still is. I mean, let's face it, folks, steels don't diminish just because they're older in nature, that they came out 10 years ago or 15 years ago or even 5 years ago. Now the big thing is MagnaCut. Everything needs to be in MagnaCut, but there's people souring on MagnaCut as well. You know what it comes down to? It's just that what do you hear the most? And it's kind of like a deck of cards. I keep saying that. D2, no, we don't like it, but D2 used to be the de rigueur, as the French like to say, the thing, the in thing. And S35, still a very good steel, along with S30V and a lot of steels that are still being used. 154 CM, now we've got CPM 154 and powder metallurgy. Well, the S35 is a powder metallurgy type of steel, and it is a solid choice for this knife, which retails for about $200. But if you use my coupon at, for instance, White Mountain Knives, you'll get something in the order of 10% off, which would take $20 off of that price. And I'm sure that there are web dealers out there that are going to start even lower. So $200 just the MSRP, the suggested retail. This recurve blade ground flat all the way to the spine is potentially, I say potentially because I haven't tried it yet, potentially sharp. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's in the technique, folks. It's in the technique. You can't push it through, you got to slice it through. That's what paper's all about. Thin handle, we're going to measure that up in a moment. Really nice action. We have both a flipper tab and a thumb disc. Some of you love thumb discs, some of you don't like thumb discs. But guess what? If you really want to get rid of it, you can take it right off of there with that torque screw. Looking at the blade, not too heavily branded. There's Artisan's logo, and there's Dirk's logo, and there is your, I have to look around the side, stock number and S35VN. As far as I know at this moment, this is the only handle choice. But what they did, interestingly enough, I expected to see, maybe I was right or wrong or whatever. Yeah, I thought that was, it's so shiny on the underside of that. Nope, 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 nope. See what I'm seeing right there? So we've got a steel liner with the handle slab enclosing it or covering it completely. So we've got steel in there, and we have the micarta over the steel on this side. So they're not relying just on micarta for the rigidity of that handle side. Definitely has a magnetic draw to it. That is definitely titanium, and the steel is definitely steel. Beautiful profile on that. But as I said, let's measure it up. And I would call this a tactically oriented EDC knife. You're definitely going to get some EDC use out of it. We have an overall length of 8.5 inches exactly, and we've got, they're calling it 3.79. So I'll go along with that, 3.79 inch, call it a 3.8 inch blade, which is, how thick? 3.1 millimeter, or in inches, 0.11, and a very thin handle, as I said, of 0.47. Very nice. Weighing it up, I must say, feels light. I'm not expecting this to be very heavy. We don't have any millwork on the inside. That's because I think that steel liner on the show side of the knife is fairly light. And we have 4.75, so call that 4.8 ounces. Yet, still under 5 ounces. Doesn't feel it, I got to tell you. Really doesn't feel, it would feel like 4 ounces, basically. A little stain there already. This micarta picks up any, could be just my spit, talking over the knife. But this will usually dry out. I find that even knives I've used pretty heavily with micarta on one side, they do tend to dry out. You put them away for a day or two, and that handle tends to lose a lot of that so-called patina. A lot of people like it, and if you wanted to darken it down, you could definitely take some oil. I use like some kind of a leather oil or whatever, put it in there, and it'll darken it down. But for how long, I don't know, because it tends to get absorbed up into it or evaporate, one or the other. Nice thumb ramp here. So we've got an angled and jimped thumb ramp that is very grippy but not too bitey. And what I like is if I want to lay my thumb flat on top of that blade for push cuts for Filipino knife techniques, I can definitely do that. And this just works out extremely well. It's exactly right angle to my forearm, which I like. And we do have the benefit of the recurve in there, going from less pressure to more pressure as you draw. That really is going to make it extremely slicey. and yet still, again, a very nice tip. I'm going to compare it to a couple other knives. Here is another Artisan, sort of sticking with Artisan or Dirk Pinkerton designs, one or the other. This one is the, and I've got to look at the name. I'm so sorry. I had it on the tip of my tongue. You probably know what it is. And of course, that is the Accelerator by Mike Snowdy Designs. It's a big one, and it's probably going to be a bit bigger, yeah, overall, than the Kami. About an inch longer, close to it, overall. And if we even up the handles, it's pretty close. So we must say, therefore, that we've got a lot of blade for the handle. Look at that. Can't get much longer than that. And yet it's well protected. I'm not picking that up at all, which is nice. And another Dirk Pinkerton design by Beyond EDC. This is the very well known by now Night Horse that unfortunately doesn't seem to be produced by Beyond EDC any longer. And this one is the all titanium handle. I do have, however, a G10 model, and they did make it in several colors of G10. If we even up the blade here, we also have about an inch longer blade, and it is even longer than the Accelerator. So that is a big knife. I think this is coming in around yeah, about 4.4-ish. It's a big knife, but it also is light and fairly thin and well contoured. In the Spanish Navaja style, word I was looking for. Early in the morning here, still getting the brain in gear. But here are all three in this compare, with the Kami being the smallest of the bunch and yet still a 3.8-inch blade. That's the one I wanted to get rid of. Great action on this knife too, on bearings and drop shut. It's very, very smooth. There's your pocket for your frame lock relief. There's your hardened steel insert screw. We've got a clip that will not transfer from the titanium side to the micarta side. T8 hardware for the pivot. Nice and snappy. It's got, I would say, just about the right detent. Can't shake it free too easily, although with a lot of force, I'm sure you could get it out there. But the point is that it's going to stay in there until you want it. Very nice action on the back flipper. Again, smooth, beautiful action. And one more comparison, since it's in my pocket at the moment, the MSI from Microtech. So the Kami is coming in about an inch shorter overall, with a blade slightly shorter than the MSI. Actually, you know, if we go to these two outermost points of the handle, I would say very close to the same. I think we're getting about 385 on the MSI, something like that. Only on the Amphibian are you going to go a slightly longer blade than the MSI. So nicely balanced, I would say, right about there. A lot of knives seem to be balancing just behind the finger swale there, but pretty neutral in through there. Beautiful place to cap it if you want to use it in the point down, edge out position, with, for those of you that like it, a nice stop there for your fingers. Nice bird's beak, we call it, pommel, kind of sticking out there like the nose of pick your animal. It could be a bird. Comes from a lot of the blade styles and the swords in the Philippines. Love the knife though. Brand new out. Got one more coming up for review that was sent along with this knife, the Banjara. And the Banjara has been out just a little bit longer than the Kami. And I might have one more prototype. These are production knives. I might have a prototype coming in for a new knife from Dirk, a new design. And don't know the name of that one yet, but when it's here, you'll see it. You may see it first here. Who knows? Well, there you go, folks. Let me know if you have enjoyed this video. Give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Coming up on 10,000 subscribers, so I hope you'll be one of those who pushes me to that new line as we keep on going forward. Be well, take care, and be safe.